So the video you're just about to watch comes from one of my online preparation courses, either the theory preparation course, or teaching in pool and classroom, or the full IDC preparation course. There's lots more information in the link below, and there's also lots more information at the end of this video. Anyway, enjoy the video. I hope you learn from it, and I certainly hope to see you again soon. Thanks. So it's not just by chance that we've put this subject right at the start of this physics section. And the reason is because calculating pressures in the salt water to an instructor is just as basic as learning how to put your kit together for an ordinary diver. So without knowing how to calculate this, you're going to really struggle with all of the questions on any PADI physics exam that deals with the effects of pressure. Now, the good news about this is it's really easy. Actually, it's so easy, it's the very first subject that anyone ever encounters on their open water course. It's right up there on the first page of section 1 in the open water manual. So there's nothing new here. It's just about you focusing on some really simple rules. Now, a few years ago, we put a video up on YouTube that made this subject really simple. I'm going to show it to you right now. So take a look at it, and then when you've finished, we can have a chat about it, and then we'll talk about some of the confusing jargon that you might have come across. So see you in a couple of minutes.
So I just want to talk about pressures underwater, and the reason I do want to talk about them is because I do find that people that are doing PADI exams often get these questions wrong, even though they do understand the subject. So in this video, I'll quickly talk about pressures underwater, and we'll also look at the reason why some people are getting these answers wrong in some exams. But we're going to start off with pressures underwater in salt water. And we can see from this that the ambient pressure, the total pressure, is made up of two components. One is atmospheric pressure, which is just one atmosphere. It's the weight of the atmosphere of the air onto the Earth's surface. And the other is made up of gauge pressure, which is the weight of the water that we're diving in. And if we think about this, it's a little bit like an energy bill, like a gas bill, an electric bill, you know, where you've got like a standing charge of X amount, which is going to be the same wherever you are, and or whatever you use, and then the rest of the bill is taken up with the energy that you use. You add the two together, it's the total amount. And if we look at this, it's very similar, because the atmospheric pressure is going to be the same whether we're diving in freshwater, salt water. It's always going to be just one. And then here we've got the gauge pressure. Now, gauge pressure, the word gauge is a great word to use here, isn't it? Because to find out what the gauge pressure is, we simply need to look at the gauge when we're diving. For example, if we was in 26 meters of water, we would look at the gauge and we'd see two numbers, a 2 and a 6, 26. We put a decimal point in the middle and we get 2.6 atmospheres. That's the gauge pressure at 26 meters, 2.6. If we was at 15 metres, we'd do the same. We'd see the numbers 1 and 5, put a decimal point, and we got 1.5. So to find the ambient pressure, all we need to do is add the two together. We've got 1 for atmospheric pressure. If we was at 26 metres of water, that'd be 2.6. Add the two together, ambient pressure is 3.6. Now, it's crucial we understand this. Crucial why? Because on other questions on dive physics exams, 45% of questions are made up about the effects of pressure. You know, questions like, how big does a balloon get if we move it around underneath the water? How much air does a diver breathe at different depths? Or maybe even, you know, partial pressures. They're all calculated by using ambient pressure in salt water. So it's crucial we get that. Now, we'll move on to freshwater. And again, we can see that the pressures in freshwater are made up of the same two components, atmospheric and gauge pressure. Atmospheric pressure, of course, is going to be the same. But it's very rare that you're going to find a question on any exam that talks about anything other than gauge pressure. If it's in freshwater, really the question nearly always is going to be, what is the gauge pressure? Now, because fresh water is a little bit lighter than salt water, we have to make an adjustment. So let's just look and see how we can do this. If we use the example that we're in salt water, and we want to know what is the gauge pressure at 27 metres of water, we just put a decimal point in. So in the sea, gauge pressure would be 2.7 atmospheres at 27 metres. Now in freshwater we need to have to make an adjustment at a ratio of a rate of 1.03. So we divide 2.7 by 1.03 and we'll find that we get the answer 2.62. Now some people I know use a different number. They use 0.97. They times 2.7 by 0.97. It's exactly the same calculation actually, but I just prefer to use the same number every time, 1.03. So that's the answer to that. So why do people get these questions wrong? So clearly, if we was to be asked the question, what is the gauge pressure at 27 metres of water, we can't answer the question. We need to find out, is it salt water or fresh water? So first of all, look to see what the question's asking. Is it gauge pressure or ambient pressure? Okay, and then secondly, look to see if it's in salt or fresh, because you can't answer the question without knowing that. But it's all in the question.
So, as you've seen, it is a fairly important subject, but the seawater pressures, well, they're fairly easy to work out. Now, the stuff about freshwater, it isn't needed very often, although most PADI physics exams will have one question that'll ask something like, what is the gauge pressure in freshwater at a depth of 16, 24, 27 metres? Or whatever. It's only then that you might need a calculator to work out by dividing the sea pressure by 1.03. Now, I don't know if you've noticed in the past, but some instructors, they like to use the word ambient pressure, and others use absolute pressure, even though it's for the same thing. It's the same. You might find the same on PADI exams. Sometimes you'll come across the word ambient, another time you'll see absolute. Now, whilst some instructors might insist on using one word or the other, the bottom line is that they're both the same thing. Now, while we're on this subject as well, you probably have noticed that pressure is sometimes followed by either ATM or ATA. Again, some people get stressed about arguing which is which, but they really do mean the same. ATM stands for atmospheres and ATA stands for atmospheres absolute. Now, actually, I did Google this difference and I found myself on a discussion board where people were contradicting each other. They were arguing which one was which should be used, but I think for some people, the time really is to chill out and just get on with life. So once you're an instructor, it's best to keep information simple and try not to confuse your own students too much. Okay, so I've put up a few questions in the next section. Let's see how you get on with them, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you again in the next video. Okay, so let's see what we've got in this course. So this is the screen that once you've signed up, this is like going to be very familiar to you. You can see over the left-hand side, we've got the list of subjects as we go, physics, physiology, etc. And then on this right-hand side, we can see the main screen. So if we have a look down, say, for example, at physics, we'll find out that the subject of physics is broken down into different lessons, pressures underwater, effects of pressure, pressure-volume relationships, etc. And those lessons, I think there's about 40 lessons altogether. Some of them are videos. So, for example, if we go to pressure-volume relationships, here we've got a video coming up. Yeah, a video here, pressure volume relationships. I've just stopped the video so you can see we've got several controls on these videos. Over here we can get rid of this left hand panel if we want to. Just click on here and then we get more of a screen, and then down here, of course, the normal full screen button as well, we can just bring that right up so you can sit back and watch the videos as I try and explain to you the subjects. And then following each lesson, we have, so for example, in this case, following the video, we then have like a pressure volume relationship quiz. And here we get several questions. They're very PADI type questions here, and like PADI type questions, we get like one of 4 answers that you can choose here, A, B, C, or D. And if we like purposely right now choose the wrong answer, when we go to confirm, we'll find out not only that it's the wrong answer, but also why, and we'll find out what the correct answer is, and a few tips and hints about how you can improve. Okay, so not all of the lessons are videos. If we go down to diving skills in the environment, for example, some of those lessons are like presentation screens. So some are videos, but we break it up with presentations. All of them are followed by a quiz so that you can get an idea of how much you've understood the lesson before. Now, once you've gone through all of these RDPs, then we can come down to the final mock exams. And we can see here, they're right up to date. Every year, we rewrite all of these questions to make sure that they're sort of reflective of the type of questions that PADI are currently asking. I always find it surprising how quickly PADI do change. So it's good that you're on this program, because these questions are right bang up to speed. You can see that the format that they're in is exactly the same as the format that you're going to find on your final instructor exam. So they're exactly the same, the content's the same, the format's the same. What's not the same, of course, is the wording of the question. That's not the intention of this, is to give you the questions. That's not the idea. The idea is that you understand it so that you can, first and foremost, is to pass an exam, but also so that you can teach it to others as well if you want to. You can also see from here that every single question that we have is both in metric and imperial. And again, that's very similar to the way that PADI have their own questions laid out. So once you've done all of those exams, you can mark them yourself. We've got the answer key here. There's the same answer key for all the A, B, C, D and E. So there's several questions there. The answer sheet is exactly the same. You can mark them yourself. And if you've got many wrong, you can always go back to the section before, to the videos or to the lessons before, to bring yourself right up to speed. I'm pretty confident that every single question that you're going to find on here is reflective of exactly the type of question you're going to find on your PADI IDC or your PADI IE. I'd be extremely surprised if you encounter a question anywhere which isn't covered in this program. Then once we then move forward, we go down to the standards and procedures. And once again, these are right up to date. They are from the very latest PADI instructor manual. So if you haven't got that, pop onto the PADI website and download the latest PADI instructor manual. And then here, once again, like the theory ones, every single question is going to be in the same format and the same content as the ones that you'll find on your PADI exam. So there are 5 exams. Each of these standard exams has got 50 questions on, just like on the IE. You can mark them. Here we've got all of the answers. So you can just go down and check whether it's, D, false, true. You can check whether you got them right or wrong. But actually, that's not good enough, because the whole idea of standards exam questions is not that you know the answers to standards. It's that you know where to find them in the instructor manual. And here we've helped you a lot. So here we've replicated every single question again, but instead of just giving you the answer true or D or C or whatever it is, we've put exactly where to find that information. For example, this one here, dry suit orientation, page 18 in the current PADI instructor manual. So there we go. So that's the way it works. It's great fun working through this. So I'll leave you now. I'll leave you to go back. I'm sure you're going to start with physics. That's where normally people do. I'm looking forward to seeing you there, and I wish you the very best of luck. Thanks now.